All right, everybody. I will see you in about an hour. Okay. All right.
All right.
Today, we will begin with a process. Initially a message, and then we will go into the healing list, and then into the talk. Now, for some time, and if you are willing to go back sufficiently, you will find that this is the 93rd video. And during all of this time, we have been pointing you in a direction of understanding and working within your true self. For you to come into an understanding of life beyond the physical form, and to realize what awaits you there. Of course, it is a non-physical form, but the information and knowledge can be transmitted from one side to another. And you exist more on the non-physical side than you do on the physical side. Although that depends on your viewpoint. You will not perceive it if you are locked within mind and thought on the physicality of life. But if you were to step away from the physicality, then what awaits you is so much more. And this, of course, is stepping across the veil. During all of these videos and talks, as I said, we have pointed you back to yourself for you to realize the truth and not to be bound by the perceived truth, which of course is in fact not true at all. So particularly with this series of talks, and also all the others in mind, we wish to take a step forward. For those that are willing and able, the intention is to offer direct teaching to you by myself. Now, the medium does not know about this. So, Malada, Kripa, if you could remind the medium when you next speak to him, which I understand will be not long after this talk. And if you can make notes, be conscious of getting this as per what we say now.
Yes, absolutely.
So we will offer for 2 small groups of around 5 or 6 each to undertake a journey towards their self-understanding. It is not neither simple nor is it without effort in both groups. And both groups initially will begin the same process, but will diverge from each other within a short period of time. We will offer both groups a sacred mantra, which you may use or you may not use, but you will be encouraged to do so. And the first group will then begin with some teachings of the head, which will then go into teachings of the heart, as we follow the teachings of Babaji. And the second group will also then begin the teachings of the head, but then will start to stay with the head and eventually evolve into a heart-based pathway. Now, if you remember, there are three paths to the top of the mountain: the way of knowledge, the way of action, and the way of devotion. Or, if you prefer, the way of head, body, and heart. All paths will lead to the path of heart. Now, if you are willing, ready, and able to come join us in this exploration, there will be times of dedicated effort. You'll be asked to undertake work in your private time. But we will assist in that work with you. So we will help with your meditations, your progress, your understanding. But if you are soft of effort and you only wish to do this out of interest and are not willing to put in the work, well, I would suggest that you will not stay the test of time and you will miss this opportunity for now. Now, these groups will take place on consecutive days. And if you could make a note to say to the medium, they will be on a Tuesday and a Wednesday in the medium's time frame, which of course is a Monday and Tuesday for other parts of the world. He will be able to fit that in, but it needs to be scheduled before other things take over. Now, both of these groups will be led by myself, not by the medium, by myself. And you may pay whatever you think is appropriate. And they will be run from month to month. So you need only commit, at least in the short term, for 1 month. There is no expectation in terms of payment, but you may pay as you feel. Now, this is where all these talks have some link. 93 talks pointing to this potential. Of course, you may follow this in your own way, in your own time, quite separately. But that will be done outside of the guidance directly of us. So I say once more, if you are willing to do the work and come into the single-pointed focus of this opportunity, we will understand and follow the way of head and heart with the intention of leading you beyond the physical world. A byproduct of all this activity in time will be a change to the way you see life, an opening up to the potential, an improvement if you undertake the work in all forms of spirit-related connection. and depending on where you are within your progress, more love in your life. Now, in addition to this, as was said before, that we will lead groups on other topics if we are requested to do so, either individually, as in just one person and ourselves, or in small groups. That is your choice. But these two groups I have mentioned will be no more than 5 or 6. So if you are not committed, please hold off until you are ready. And you should be in contact with the medium to register your interest. He does not know, and he will not know until after a few hours after this event, where he will receive the instruction and then make the plans available. Now let us leave that behind. I understand, Brandon, we have a healing list. May I have those names now, please?
Yes, we do. Megan Cohen, Asha, Rosa, Nancy, Heavenly, Calum, Lena Montalbano, Cassio, Fabio, and Angela Christina Delatilo Pisa, Anna, Sonia, Jeanette, Teresa, Denise and Steve, Jason and Belinda, Caleb, Kath and Rod, Tracy, Eric, Stephen and Matthew, Marianne and Jody, Jill, Katie, Mitch, Louise and John, Jay Fellows and family, Daniel and Chantel. Thank you.
When you close your curtains during your daylight, there are times when there is a slight gap in the curtain and a beam of light may come through. And in that beam of light, there are specks of dust which can be easily seen by the human eye. But those dust particles drift from what you could say is in the darkness, when they are very difficult to see, into the light when they are easy to see, and then continue on into the darkness and not be seen. So when the light then shines, it illuminates what is there, and it just appears in that moment of time, but the truth is it was always there. And the human mind and eyes attach and watch the dust. And they see the dust without seeing the light. Yet it is the light, of course, that makes the dust visible. Now the spirit, the unified whole spirit, is very aware of all existences at all times in all places. But the attention of that spirit is brought down into an individual basis, forming the soul. And the soul then watches the life and lets the life take place in the way that it must take place. And the consciousness that is with the soul, then traveling through the mind, observes life in the physicality. So the soul, through consciousness, watches life and all the activities of life and sees the way life performs on an individual basis, the trials, the tribulations. And as this energy goes through the mind of the individual, then the soul uses all the physical senses to watch that life, the eyes, the ears, etc. And now we have the birth of the ego. As it is perceived that there is only one watching, then there must be only one person. So the ego then sees life and is created in form. So the ego then, seeing the life, either makes a judgment that this is wonderful or this is obnoxious, and desires what is wonderful and leaves behind whatever it does not like. So it chases pleasure and experiences pain. So both pleasure and pain are as a result of the ego. And yet if we step backwards now, it is going into your silence, the times of your meditation, that you begin to detach from the physical world. And at times this can give the experience of detachment, separation, of viewing from a different angle this world and other worlds. But what has happened, of course, is the awareness is not solely focused on the physical world anymore, but other things. And as it becomes focused on other things, it is still caught within the individuality. So there is one person, or perceived one person, separating. One person viewing astral world or looking down on the body. This gives a feeling of a tunnel, of a sucking back along the tunnel. As the awareness is withdrawn more and more away from the physicality. Now, at these times, man can experience joy and happiness. Now, these are not dependent on anything external. And this is why the process of death and dying is no more than a step backwards into what is already there. And it is in your meditations that you also step backwards by the removal of focus in the external to the internal. And then, of course, you are separate from the body if you wish. So the play of karma, the miscellaneous thoughts, memories, and actions of past, is very instrumental in the life that you live. Even down to the choice of your body style, and your personality is most suited or will be most suited to the experience that is to be had. Because it is the influence on thoughts and memories which create the existence you see. So whether you have blonde hair or dark hair, is a destiny of fate. So if you can follow what I have said, perhaps with just a little thought, you can see that karma builds up. Some is dealt with in the same existence it is created, and other karma, of course, is waiting for some other time. And that karma then will create the second life and the third life, ensuring that man exists time and time again. But it need not be that case. But as we spoke last week, in the ticking of the clock, there is a cycle to life from start to finish over many lifetimes. Where the gentle shedding of karma and also on what view you take of life becomes more prevalent. So your work, of course, is to look at life and to work with what you have. The experience of what you are experiencing is because of previous experience, previous thoughts and actions come to fruition now. If you would like more peace in your life, then this is the work you must follow. So see life in the way that it is created because you have created it. And each moment you have is an opportunity for you to come back home to your truth. It begins with a memory and a choice and a direction. And there are many techniques that we can use, which will take you from the viewpoint at the bottom of the mount to further up the mount. And all those individual pathways begin to merge into less and less pathways. And all religion becomes one. And understanding becomes one. Whereas very far apart at the base of the mount. There are many teachers that have come into your physical world to express their viewpoint and to point the way for you. Now, you could say there is a scattering of teachers, of guides, along the path of the mountain. There's ones at the very bottom and ones partway up, and of course, ones nearer the summit. They are in your life. Some to keep you going, and others to point the way, and others to take you by the hand and lead you. Across rugged terrain and difficult situations. When you are at the bottom of the mountain, the teacher, it looks very different to the ones at the, well, near to the top of the mountain. At the bottom, there are many and varied, and very much in the physical world. But nearer the surface, their existence stops being physical and starts being internal. And the student, the guru, and God all become one and the same. As you approach the final steps of the summit. So the phrase given to you some time ago can be seen to be accurate. And that is, we come into your life, or we come into your dream to wake you up. If you wish to change this purely into the words of spirit, soul, and afterlife, then the presence of spirit is felt. And the guidance and transfer of knowledge between two sides of the veil is appropriate and available. And the trust between the two sides grows. One side in support of the other. So living your life is what you must do. But where you view your life from is your choice. Caught in the turbulence of the activity, or standing back a little or a lot. That is the process of meditation and the process of a true guide and a true teacher. Working on more than one level, even if the student is unaware. So do you recognize the dust, or do you recognize the light? If you follow the dust, then you may be following the untrue teacher. Ones which will tell you anything and everything. That's always under pressure to give you a bigger and bigger message, to appease both yours and their ego. Or do you follow the light, which asks nothing of you? Yet as the sun always shines and asks for nothing in return, it is always giving and sending, regardless of who you are, or at least who you think you are. So be aware of the light and the dust. and make your choices which you follow, the physical or non-physical. Come stand in the light and see the reason and the truth. And let us walk together. Let us remove the veil between you and I. Let us hold hands as we walk the path. So we can keep you safe and full of the love that you deserve. That is your birthright. The veil is never meant to be, but has been created by man and can only be removed by man. Be still and know us. We are your truth. And truth does not change. It does not leave, it does not go, it does not surrender to falsehood. Let us hold hands together. And see the dust and the light. God bless you all.